Alright, y'all, it is snowing outside, so I figured what better time than to teach you how to make not just oil of oregano oil, but a really good one. Okay, so here's the supplies you're gonna need. We need to create a double boiler situation. So you need a pot and a bowl that fits inside of your pot. We're gonna fill this pot just a little bit with water that's gonna gently heat our bowl instead of applying it directly to heat. So you're gonna get that going, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a blender, some alcohol. I use organic cane alcohol from the Organic Alcohol Company. If you're not using a lot of alcohol, it's probably easiest for you to just go grab a little teeny tiny airplane bottle of the strongest vodka you can find. In fact, pure grain alcohol is best because we want as little water content as possible. If you, well, no, most of you are going to use this internally. I can't think of what that, Everclear. So a lot of people will use Everclear. You only need a little bit, so don't spend money. And then ideally you're going to use some good quality oregano that you know how long it's been dried. For example, if you purchase it online from a company that you don't know, we really don't know the integrity of that herb. We don't know how long it's been dried. A lot of times they arrive colorless, flavorless, scentless. So I am using garden-grown oregano, which has plenty of color and scent. So if you don't know a farm you can purchase from, or you or a friend don't have it, look on Etsy, because a lot of farms will list herbs on Etsy. Don't buy from an herb shop on Etsy that's just another mass herb purveyor with brown herbs. You really want to look for something that has farm in the name. They only have a few herbs that they clearly grow themselves. So yeah, we'll go over ratio in a second. So I'm gonna make just a quart-sized jar of oregano oil. So I'll give you a visual of our ratio. For infused oils, I like to do 1 to 4, so 1 part plant matter to 4 parts oil, alcohol, whatever you're making. And that tends to be really good for dried plant matter. If you're using completely fresh plant matter, that's a whole different process. And if you're curious in knowing how to do that process, I highly recommend joining our Circle membership. All of my class recordings are on there. All of our classes are really in depth. They're usually about 2 hours long. And for $10, you get access to all of our past classes, and you can cancel at the end of the month. So it's a pretty good deal. And we have a great class on there called From Herb to Salve, where we teach you all the different methods of infusing herbs and oils, fresh, dried, heat, alcohol, etc. And then we also show you then how to turn it into a salve. So this is about what 1 to 4 looks like. And here's how much alcohol you're going to use, about a capful. The only reason that we're doing this is because plants have water-soluble, alcohol-soluble, and fat-soluble properties. And this step is really nice, especially if you're using fresh herbs. So the alcohol is just going to help us express the plant matter a little bit. We're really not going to get a ton of the alcohol-soluble properties by doing this, but I have certainly found that it helps create a stronger oil. So let's see, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 little tiny capfuls. You don't want to be able to squeeze alcohol out of the plant matter. You want it to be just enough to massage it into your plant matter. I can't get my hand in the jar, so I'm just pouring it out into my blender. And there's no alcohol left in the jar. There's no drips of alcohol, and that is the goal. So here's my plant matter that I've massaged with alcohol. Now I'm going to pour my oil. I prefer olive oil. I just really like good quality olive oil. I get mine from Seca Hills. It is an indigenous owned olive field and operation. They use very good olive oil. They will not sell it to you past a certain point, so there's no risk of rancidity or anything. So let's see, I'm gonna fill my jar all the way up. And now I'm gonna get our double boiler set up. I'm not gonna record the blending part because I'm just gonna pulse it for about a minute. And we're back. Your blended oil should look something like this. And I do want to make a note, some people think if you add more herbs, it's more potent. And the truth is, the most important things are the quality of your herbs and your extraction method. For example, if you just stick it in a jar on the shelf, it's not going to be nearly as strong as using heat. It is important to know if your plant matter is heat soluble. Some plants, especially mucilaginous ones like marshmallow and slippery elm, are actually cool soluble. They need some cold time. Some are alcohol soluble, fat soluble, water soluble, etc. That is the most important part. So now we're going to take our olive oil infusion, our oregano infusion, and we are going to pour it into our bowl that is on the double boiler. And now I turn my water up to high just till I can hear that it's nice and hot, and I'll turn it all the way down to low, and it will sit here on the stove for a few hours. Low, gentle heat is really the best, so I like to do it for a few hours. I'm gonna go, it's snowing outside, we're gonna go walk down, get the mail, hang out with the chickens for a while. It might end up being 2 to 3 hours. When you strain your oil, which I'll come back and show you, it should be a really lovely dark green color. So we'll be back. Okay, my friends, it is the end. It's been a few hours. I went outside, I played in the snow. I'm getting ready for bed now. I'm at home, so I don't have all the equipment that I normally would at work, but having one of these jar strainers, or not a strainer, this jar is for like putting herbs in more easily. It gives you a wider mouth, is really nice because you can stick a strainer in it and it'll funnel everything into your jar. Good equipment. If you guys follow me on socials, in the link in my bio, I have like a Tori's Top Picks, and it has a lot of like herbalist equipment in there. Okay, so I've taken the heat off of my double boiler. I'm gonna give it a final little stir, and then we're gonna strain. And because we blended this, it's a good idea to use cheesecloth because there's going to be lots of little tiny particles. Cheesecloth comes in handy all the time, so just go ahead and you treat yourself to some. And if you are watching this and you're local, because this video was prompted by a post in Crunchy Moms, Middle Tennessee or something, we teach workshops at Cedar Hill Apothecary in Springfield, Tennessee. All of our workshops are pretty intensive. I like for people to leave not just knowing stuff, but I want them to be able to get home and know how to do something with what they just learned, which is why my classes often run over a bit in time. Okay, so we've got our little cheesecloth set up here. And now we pour. Let's talk about a bunch of uses for oregano. If you do sign up for a circle, take the class Building Your Home Medicine Cabinet. Oregano / Monarda, which is like our native wild oregano, is one of the herbs that I cover, and we talk about all the ways you can use it, but let's just talk about how to use oregano oil. So oregano oil is beneficial because it is full of antimicrobials. It is very antibacterial. It is antibacterial and it has antiviral properties. So this is helpful to take whether you have a cold or the flu, literally anything. One of my favorite unknown ways to use it is as a nasal oil. We contract viruses and bacterial infections most often through our airways, our nasal passages, our mouth. So I love using things like, we make a very strong antimicrobial mouthwash called Swish. And I like using something like this in my nose at the end of the day, because then any sort of bacteria that's gotten in there that all of your good microbes are fighting off, we can really give them a boost. And that's kind of the cool thing about herbs. And I'm like trying to figure out how much I want to get into this. On the Facebook post I commented on, which is what led me to making this video, someone was like, don't use oil of oregano, it kills everything good and bad. They are specifically talking about oregano essential oil. And this is a complex topic I'm not going to get too deep into, because I would just go watch the solubility class. But when you see an herbalist like myself praising whole plant medicine, what that means is that we are not taking anything away. So when you make an essential oil, you are isolating the compounds of the plants that are called volatile oils, and you're not receiving the rest of it. Here's an example. We have some kava products at the store, and something getting really popular is kava lactones, which is like isolating the parts of kava that make you feel good. And then we start hearing rumors, oh, kava's bad for your liver, kava's bad for your liver. Kava is not bad for your liver. Kava lactones only can be harmful to your liver. Guess why? Because in the whole kava plant, there are compounds in that plant that are liver protecting, that are good for your liver. When you get rid of those and you only take the ones you want, which to me feels like very selfish human thing to do, there's going to be consequences. Another example, so many of us have to replace fiber in our foods and our diet because we're taking it away when we skin carrots and potatoes and things that we don't need to skin, and apples and all that. The hull of a fruit, and vegetable, like all of the above, or nut, typically has soluble and insoluble fiber. When you get to the inside and you're just eating the delicious sugars and carbohydrates, you need those insoluble fibers to help your body digest and process that food. All foods, plants, grains were created perfectly for some reason or another. And they're created perfectly whole for the most part. There's always nuance when it comes to plants. So what made me start on this? Oh, I know where I'm going with this. There are consequences to isolating compounds. This is a whole plant extraction. Please do not ingest essential oils. Our bodies are not built to ingest only the isolated volatile oils of a plant. Plants were meant to be ingested whole. There are reasons for the tough skin, for the stringy, fibrous parts of celery, for example. So that's my little takeaway. If you think you have been near someone that got sick, or you're going into a public space like the airport or a school or anything like that, great time to take oregano oil. Super gentle, great for kids, great for pets. We give it to our chickens, our cats, our dogs. It's just such a simple and great formula. And I'm not going to bore you guys by straining the rest of it on camera, but here's our gorgeous green, beautiful oregano oil. I hope you make some.